Cathy Jones, Cathyjones. So we moved here from the Chicagoland area, right around Wrigley Field, which made life pretty interesting. I have 5 siblings, and there's 4 dads amongst the 6 of us. So growing up was interesting. At a very young age, we were taught to be self-sufficient, to take care of ourselves. Mom was always working, and I got lucky because I was the youngest, so the only father that I knew was my dad. And he was in the picture through my whole life up until a few years ago. Life wasn't always easy. Mom was very abusive, very unstable. Her idea of a relationship was what she could get out of it, and when she was done, and it was time to move on. Our life with Mom was on we were constantly being challenged. We didn't know what one day would look like to the next. Would she be in a good mood? Would she not be in a good mood? There was physical abuse. There was a lot of emotional abuse. At a very young age, I learned that to take care of the pain and to make the pain go away, you medicate it. Drugs and alcohol came very easily. Living in that environment in a Chicago public school, it was very easy to access it. And that's kind of how I managed. You survived and you got through life, and you just stayed away from home as much as you could, and that led to a lot of us getting into trouble. We did not grow up in a church, or actually I shouldn't say that. Mom was always looking for something. Jehovah's Witness, she bounced us around through a lot of different religions. She tried fortune telling, she had charts all over the house, and she was into astrology. So we were very confused with the whole religion piece in our lives. When she got older, she did claim that she did become a Christian, and I am not one to judge on that, but I can say that her religion really turned me off of religion. She would quote the Bible, and she would try to talk to us about the Bible, and then in the next breath she was swearing at the person walking the dog in the front of the house, or being physically abusive. So I did not want that kind of religion, and I did not want anything to do with church growing up. When I was 18, I moved out, my 18th birthday. Life just got very difficult. As I know it now, I thought I was having fun, and I thought I was surviving. I was working. She actually bought a restaurant when I was 13, and I worked in the restaurant, so I knew how to survive. I knew how to take care of myself. And when I moved out at 18, I still worked in the restaurant. And I always held a job, but I very quickly learned to make the pain go away, which is what I understand now. How to mask that pain was to go out and party. Not getting into too much details, I did follow my mother's example of disposable relationships, and along with that was the partying, and I got into a lot of trouble. Speed it up through a few years. I was 36 years old. It had escalated to a point of having problems with the law, having financial burdens of court costs and lawyers. And my girlfriend at that time convinced me to go to a recovery meeting with her, and I did not want to go. And she said, "Please come to support me. I'm speaking." And I'll never forget that day. It was a Saturday morning. I was hungover, and I went to this recovery meeting, and I sat there and I listened to these people laughing and telling their stories. And all of a sudden, I was overwhelmed. I could not control the tears and the feelings I was having, and that was not me. I never showed emotion. I was very independent and strong, is what you needed to be growing up in an environment like that. So I went to the bathroom, and I walked in that bathroom, and I broke down. I just cried and cried, and I remember looking up, and I said, God, I don't know who you are, what you are. I said, but I'm not going to be alive much longer if I continue to live my life like this. And I truly meant that. I did not know how much longer I could sustain the life I was living. And it was the weirdest feeling I've ever felt. I felt like a ton of bricks had been lifted from my shoulders. And I just sat there and sobbed and sobbed. And I said, I'm gonna make you a deal. I said, I have a 6-pack of beer at home. I'm gonna go finish that beer, and I'm never gonna pick up another drink again. And I did. I went home, and it was September 9th, 2001, 2 days before 9/11. And I haven't had a drink since that time. The difference in my life between now and then, it hasn't been easy, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I've been sober for 21 years. I have an amazing husband of 15 years. He's a Christian. He's a wonderful man. We have 4 adopted boys. And my life is wonderful. It's not easy at all. I mean, every day there's struggles, but the difference is night and day. The difference between then and now is I have a reason to live. I have a reason to get up. Through this whole COVID thing, I've lost a very close family member, my aunt, who has always been there for me. She was more like my mom. And when she died from COVID, it hurt so bad. And the only thing I had to grab onto was my faith. And I knew she was a believer. And I knew she was up in heaven and she wasn't in pain anymore. And that's basically how I live my life. I mean, when situations come up and I don't know where to turn, that's where I turn, is to God. Because I know He hears me. I know He's there for me, because He's brought me from rags to riches and gives me a hope and a place to go and something to look forward to, is something I never had before. He's given me an identity. I know when I first became a Christian, after that day, I didn't feel worthy. I felt worthless. And I quickly learned that God doesn't want somebody who's educated, somebody who's perfect. He wants somebody who's broken. And I was broken. I was very broken. And He's given me a new life and a new understanding of what a good life can be, of what a life full of hope and of joy can be. And without Him, I know I wouldn't be here today.